If I gave you this equation, 10x equals 20, what would you do to solve this?
Divide by 10.
You would just divide it by 10, right? Both sides? And you would get what? X equals 2. What if I wrote 20 equals 10x? What if I switched it around? Does it matter? No. I would look for the coefficient of x. I would look for whatever number is in front of x, and I would divide that by 10 to get rid of that. So what do I do to this side? Divide by 10. So I'm left with 20 divided by 10 is, are these different? X equals 2 or 2 equals x?
No.
Same thing, right? Just doing a little intro. What if I write this? So recall that here I had a 10x and we divided by 10. What if I wrote y times x, so yx equals z, and I said isolate x, solve for x. What? Here I have a yx, what should I divide by? Yeah, to get rid of that, to get x by itself. So what do I have to do to the right side? Divide by? So what are you left with? X equals z divided by y. That's the answer, and that's what we're doing today. Okay, so we have A equals LW. This means L times W, right? Whenever you have two letters together, and they're asking you to isolate, so solve for L. So I'm trying to get L by itself. So I have to do the opposite. The L is on the right side, and it's L times W. What's the opposite of multiply by W? Divide by W. That gets rid of it, and that gets my L by itself. What do I have to do to the left side? Divide by. So the answer is A over W equals L, or you can say L equals A over W. I have D divided by T, and I'm trying to isolate D. The question said get D by itself. What's the opposite of divided by T? Multiply by T. That cancels that out. So what I have to do to the left side? Multiply by T. So if you wrote TS equals D, or you can write ST equals D, or you can write D equals TS, or D equals ST. Any of those are fine, because when you multiply two things together, it does not matter the order. 5 times 2 is 10. 2 times 5 is 10. Same thing. Isolate R. Get R by itself. And then for G, this one's a little harder. Isolate for W. We'll do the. So we have to isolate R, so we're going to get rid of the 2 pi to get R by itself. Opposite operation. So on the left side, we have to divide by 2 pi. So R equals C over 2 pi. Raise your hand if you got that. That's it. First, you need to get rid of, because it says plus 2W, it's positive 2L, this is an L, plus 2W. The first thing you need to do is get the 2W by itself. So what's the opposite of plus 2L? Minus the 2L. That's the first step, okay? So I have to minus the 2L here. So this is the first thing you're going to get rid of. So I have P minus the 2L. Does everyone understand that? Now we have 2 times W. What's the opposite of multiplication? Divide by, what do I divide by? 2. So I divide all of this by 2. That cancels out. We're left with W. P minus 2L over 2. Okay, this one says isolate, solve for X. Similar to the last one we just did, you have an M next to an X, but then you have a plus B. What's the first thing we should get rid of? Huh? Minus B? So I have to take away B here. So I have Y take away B equals, what am I left with? Chelsea? MX, good. I'm trying to get x by itself. But I have an m in front of the x, that means m times x. What's the opposite of multiplication, Prentice? So I'm going to divide by what? Divide by m, so I have to divide the left side by m. That gets rid of it. We're left with y minus b over m equals x.